Welcome back. Now, no matter how sweet your tooth, you'd struggle to put this one on your cornflakes. A giant sculpture of the iconic Paris landmark, the Sacré Coeur, has been made entirely out of sugar. The artwork weighs approximately 30 kilos, measures 1 metre high, and took over 100 hours to create. That is the reason it is not in the studio, I would hasten to point out, and not because it wouldn't last long with me next to it. I'm joined in the studio, however, by Nicolas Guercio, the chef behind it, to tell us all about this very sweet exhibit. Nicolas, first and foremost, welcome, but how on earth do you make something like this? Because, you know, I can do fairy cakes, I can do drop scones, that's about it. This looks like it's on a slightly different level.
Well, it's almost like a huge wedding cake. Instead of doing like a normal way, we're just making like a church, right?
So why did you go for the Sacré Coeur rather than, you know, you could have had the Eiffel Tower, you could have had Notre Dame, you could have had any number of landmarks. What is it about the Sacré Coeur?
The idea was to have one of the most iconic landmarks in Paris, but was too classical to have just the Eiffel Tower, and actually all the details that you can find in the Sacré Coeur make it even more challenging, you know. So I think that was a good choice.
I think it is an absolutely beautiful choice. But if it is made out of sugar, genuinely, can I eat that at all, or is this the type of sugar that?
Well, you could.
Not in one sitting. I'm not suggesting that, but you know, it is an edible piece of art in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. This is our job, you know. Like our pastry chef, we have to make everything edible, made of. So here's sugar, it could be chocolate or whatever. And this is very interesting to work the matter.
Because this has all been commissioned by Kellogg's, and it's all to do with reducing the amount of salt, reducing the amount of sugar that we have in our diet. I have to say, as a pastry chef, how easy is it for you to talk about reducing the amount of sugar? Because as I understand it, when you guys fling sugar in everything and a pan of butter on top just for good measure.
That's a good question. Actually, few years ago, that wasn't the question. Now people want something much healthier, and we got to work on that. So even me on my recipe, I try to reduce as much as I can. I say as much as I can because then when you go too low, it's not good. You have to get a little bit of sugar. You have to get a little bit of salt.
Of course.
Right? Bread without salt is disgusting.
No, completely. Yeah. But when it comes to, you know, the more edible, the more immediately accessible kind of aspects of your work, I mean, how much sugar can you cut out? I mean, compared to where you were a few years ago, how much have you been able to remove?
Could you believe me if I can say maybe half of it?
No, really.
Compared to I started 20 years ago, more than that, and we really reduce it, almost half of it. Depending on the recipe, some it works, some it doesn't, because sugar helps also for the texture and structures. But for simple cake, you can reduce, just basic cake that you can do at home, you can reduce almost half of it. And it's still good, and still yummy.
See, that is the thing. I mean, is it just that we became, as a society, we all became so used to having that level of sugar in it?
Yeah, exactly.
OK, so let's answer a couple of questions that I have to ask. As a big lover of cake myself, I mean, when you leave the working environment, when you leave the kind of the hot kitchen and head home, I mean, are you eating kind of sweet things there? Are you eating any kind of...
I try to be careful. Right?
You're doing a lot better at staying away from it.
Yeah, but I have to, otherwise I'm trying everyday cakes and cream, and so I try to slow down on the sugar, but I love sugar. And it's a drug. I mean, everybody loves it.
So what is going to happen with the Sacré Coeur? Because as mentioned, we couldn't get it in the studio, but if it's looking for a good home, I've got a 7-year-old that I think would be quite interested in having a go at it at some point.
Right, so this one I made it in Paris a month ago. It came in London for Kellogg's Reductive Art Exhibition. That will be in Oxo Gallery for those 2 days coming. Then it's going back to Paris next week, and finally it will go to Kellogg's office in Paris.
Just promise me you're not going to drop it.
No, it will stay in Kellogg's office.
Good luck. Yeah. Well, Nicolas, it is a remarkable achievement. I'm absolutely starving, so I'm fairly pleased that you didn't manage to get in the studio this morning, for my waistline's sake as much as anything else. Nicolas, pleasure chatting to you. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
We're going to have a quick look at the weather. Thankfully, it's not raining outside.
Yeah.